Hey guys, welcome back. I got another video for you. So I've been thinking about this entire concept of saving, right? Saving is basically our store of value, right? It's basically the monetary energy that we have taken. We've worked, we've labored, we've done our blood, sweat, and tears. We've taken that economic power, right? It's what we haven't spent, right? Whatever we don't need or kind of the excess left over, what do we do with it? We typically save it, right? There's many different ways we can save, whether it's cash or whatever, retirement, things like that, and then retirement accounts, 401ks, whatever. There's a million different areas. So the concept of saving, we put money aside for the future, right? This idea. And so this isn't a new concept. I know when you think back to cavemen, and they stored up nuts, berries, even dried meats, right? And that was a store of calories, like caloric intake, right? They took those and they stored them. They kind of set them aside. So this isn't a new concept, right? So this concept's been around for forever. And so when I look at those of us today, I guess there's this emerging network in a sense of saving that you can actually greatly benefit from. And so I'm going to explain why. So those of us who currently are saving in Bitcoin terms, we put our excess into, instead of US dollars, we put it into Bitcoin. We have noticed literally everything is getting cheaper, which is absolutely wild when you think about it. So when everything is actually getting cheaper, we're having to use less of that to make purchases, right? While those who actually choose to save in US dollars are noticing everything is rising in price, right? And so it's kind of crazy when you start thinking about it, but it's basically the entire concept of Bitcoin being a deflationary currency or store of wealth. And so another way to think of this would be an increased purchasing power, meaning your money is becoming more valuable. And so which is actually exactly what Bitcoin is becoming. It's becoming more and more valuable. So Bitcoin allows us to save in it, yes, and over time continually becomes two things. It becomes more scarce, and it also becomes more valuable at the same time. And so as the scarcity, it's like this flywheel, becomes more scarce because more people are accumulating it, but then in return, it becomes more valuable. So in return, things become cheaper. Now, we currently use US dollars, right, in terms to basically measure the price of Bitcoin. That's now. But I do believe, honestly, you guys, in the future, we will see things in basically priced in Bitcoin. And so for those of you who are new to Bitcoin, there are 100 million units that make up one Bitcoin. So there's 100 million of these. And what these little units are known as, they're known as Satoshis, or sats is what people call them. So again, that's why you'll see all these YouTubers, get to 0.01 Bitcoin. That's 1 million Satoshis. And so again, there's a lot, you'll see lots of videos out there recommending, how much do I get? What do I need for retirement? Again, I'm talking about the whole entire concept right now of saving. And so there's a Swedish proverb, and I absolutely love this. It says, "He who buys what he does not need steals from himself." And so when you think about that concept, it's true. You're basically living outside of your means. You're buying things that you really don't need, right? So then you want to really take this quote and ask yourself, like really take a hard look in the mirror. Do I really want to retire? And that's the question I'm going to pose to most of you today. If you want to retire, the answer is yes to that. You have got to take action. You've got to do something. Now, I'm going to throw a little bit of data at you here. It's kind of earth-shattering in some ways. So the current data shows that most Americans are not taking action. They're basically not doing enough. And so the first piece of info, and it's kind of a big pool. 91% of Americans have a net worth less than $1 million. And so when you think about retirement, there's a lot of people in retirement. Having less than $1 million is not very much money. And so most Americans can't, in a sense, take $70,000, right, and actually go and buy a full Bitcoin, right? That's 91% of people probably can't just do that. And so that's something that, again, when we talk about the flywheel, dollar cost averaging, being able to buy a little bit at a time is really what the goal would be. And so when you think about the wealthy, there's 56 million millionaires worldwide. There's 56. Of those 56 million, 22 million of them live here in the United States. That's a huge, that's 40% of all millionaires in the world live here in the United States. And so again, if your goal is to try to get to say 0.21 Bitcoin, that's 21 million Satoshis. It's going to cost you about $9,000 right now. So again, that could be a goal as you're chipping away at it. You're, basically every 2 weeks, whenever you get paid, $50, $100, whatever you can do. If that's your goal to get to, I think that's a fantastic goal. So, what Bitcoin does, it's a leg up in savings. And so, in the future, those 21 million Bitcoin or whatever your goal is, whatever you've been able to achieve, those will become more valuable in return, causing your purchasing power to go up. And so, again, if you can take all value currencies on the planet and literally divide them by 21 million, that would be the price of what Bitcoin is actually valued at. Because it's the first time in history we have a scarce asset. When you think about scarcity, and again, it takes you guys, it took me several years to get this concept down because I've been in this space, as I said before, a long time. The US dollar is infinite. They will continue to print it because that's literally what they have to do to pay those loans and the debts down. Bitcoin, there's only 21 million, and that's forever, like 21 million forever. So by the year 2030, over 99% of Bitcoin will have been mined, meaning that the last 1% has 120 years to be mined. What side of history do you guys want to be on? Keep stacking, guys. If you like, comment, subscribe, do all the things below. I appreciate you guys. Chat soon.